Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video in the Kotlin series. In this video, I'll be teaching about else if statements. Alright everybody, welcome back. In the last episode, I taught you guys about if statements, which is a way of having your program run different code depending on a condition. So this is an example of what we learned last episode where we have this variable age and it stores 17 or whatever number you want to store. And then we have an if statement here that says if age is greater than or equal to 18, then run this code. Print out, you can vote. Otherwise, if this is false, then just go ahead and run the code, go do your homework because they are less than 18. With the else if statement, we can add more conditions to this. So if we want to add more nuance and say, if you're less than 18 but you're greater than 16, then you can get a driver's permit. If you're less than 16 but you're greater than 14, then you can join the robotics team, stuff like that. So rather than just being able to test one condition and just have a default for that condition, you can add more conditions. So let's see how we can do that. So if you want to add an else if to this, all you have to do is go here and then press enter. And then we're going to add else if. And now we're going to add our condition. So if this one is false, it's going to go to the next part, right? Which is usually just the else here, and that says go do your homework. That is only the case when it's greater than or equal to 18. So let's go ahead and add another condition that says if the age is greater than or equal to 16, and then you can go ahead and drive. Because I believe that's the driving age in America, but I might be wrong about that. It may be 14. So we'll just put that. So we'll say print line, you can drive. There we go. So before I explain this, let me just go ahead and run this and we'll see what prints out. There we go. It says you can drive. Okay, so this means that this one was correct. So the way this works is it'll go condition by condition. So first it's going to go here and assign the value of 17 to the age variable. Then it's going to reach this if statement here and say, okay, is age greater than or equal to 18? If it is, then run the code inside of here and then ignore everything else and skip to the line after. If this is false, then go ahead and check the next condition if there's an else if and see if the else if is true, meaning that they are greater than or equal to 16, then run the code inside of that branch and then discard everything after. If both of these are false, both the if statement and the else if statement, then the else statement will run by default just like before. So it simply goes from top to bottom, checking each condition, and when it reaches a true condition, it will run that code in that branch. Otherwise, it will run the else statement code if there is one. So remember, you don't actually have to have an else. That's just if you want it. So if both of these are false, then nothing is going to happen at all. If one of these are true, then it's going to run only the code within the branch that it's part of, okay? So let's go and add our else back. And you can add as many as you want. That's the really cool thing. So we can go down again. We can add another else if, and we can say age is greater than or equal to 14. So for this one, we'll say you can join the robotics team, something like that. And then we can move this back up. There we go. So now we have 3 conditions total. So if we rerun this now, let's see what happens. It still says you can drive. And that's pretty self-explanatory, right? This is the condition that is true. But I think it's important to reiterate is that, this one's also true technically, right? If it ever got to this point, age is greater than or equal to 14 because age is 17. So both of these conditions are true. So why does it only run this one? And that's just because, like I told you a second ago, it reads it from top to bottom. So it goes here. If that's false, it's going to go here. If this is true, it'll run the code inside of here and then discard everything else. So if this is false, so only if this is false will it go here and check it. So that's why it doesn't run both. I'm going to go ahead and give you another example from my favorite book. It's called Java, the Complete Reference, 11th edition. Now you may be wondering, why am I referencing a Java book? And that's just because Java and Kotlin are very similar. They're sister languages and they both run the Java virtual machine, right? I told you all this before. Even though it's a totally different language, this book has a really good example of an if statement with a bunch of else ifs that I think it's just a good example overall. So let me go ahead and copy that for you. So let's break this down. What is this doing? So first of all, we have a variable called month and it's storing the value of 4. So we can assume that this is going to be the 4th month, April. And then we have another variable called season, which is a string. So the idea behind this big thing that we have here is that it's going to determine, based on what the month number is, what season that month is a part of. Now I haven't showed you guys OR yet. That's actually for the next couple of episodes. I'll show you guys what that is. But just for now, know that these little symbols here, these little pipes, that means OR. So it's saying if the month is 12, or if the month is 1, or if the month is 2, then season should be set to the string of winter, okay? So I think it's pretty self-explanatory, even though we haven't explicitly gone over this yet. So if this one is true, then it's going to do that and ignore everything else like I told you. If it's false, then it's going to go to the next one. It'll say if the month is 3, or March. If the month is April, or 4, or if the month is 5, it's going to be spring, and so on. So summer and autumn as well. And then we have an else here. So why do we have an else? And this is just because for our month variable here, this number could literally be anything in our program, right? So it could be higher than 12, it can be a negative number at this point. We haven't made a way to limit it. So what this means is that whenever it goes through all of these, it could technically have a number that's not an actual month number. So we're just going to have an else here that runs some code and assigns some value if for some reason it doesn't have a proper number. So in this case, it'll give the season the value of bogus month because it's not a real month. So let's actually see this in practice. So we're going to go down here and do print line April is in the season. So this will just run the if statement here, assign the value of this variable, and then print it out at the end so we can see what it actually is. There we go. So we get you can drive, which is for the one above, and then we get April is in the spring. So that's correct because our month is 4. And then if we look at our else if statements here, we see that month is equal to 4 as one of the conditions. So this will be true. And so it'll be spring. And that's pretty much all I want to show you guys. I know this was a pretty short episode, but that's how you can add on else if statements to make your if statements a little more complex because now you can add on more conditions. So previously we only knew how to check for one condition and then just have an else on the end of that if we want to. But now we can do an if, we can do an else if, we can add another else if, as many as we need. And then if we still want to, we can have an else on the end if we don't match any of the conditions that we put. So now you can make even more complex programs now. So that's it for this video, everybody. I really hope you learned something new. If you liked the video, please hit the like button, and if you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. Make sure to also check the description below for important links to code and other resources, but also really important, join our Discord. We have a big community of over 5,000 programmers, and it's a place where you can find new friends or get help on any code that you're stuck on. If you want to support what I do on this channel, please consider hitting the join button below, and this will allow you to support my channel for as low as $1 a month, but there are different tiers to choose from if you want to. For anyone that becomes a member on my channel, you get a special rank on my Discord server, early access to new videos, and you can just see yourself on the screen right now. So if that sounds cool to you, feel free to join. If you don't want to, that's fine. If you can't, that's okay too. I really just appreciate you watching the video anyway. Thank you so much. And that's it. Peace.